The most important question that may arise in everyone's mind at some point of time in his life is, what is karma? How law of karma affect your life? Today, you will get answer to these questions through this amazing story of Buddha. Let's start. There was a disciple of Buddha whose name was Chakshupal. It means eyes. Chakshupal was blind. Once Chakshupal went to Gautam with the desire to see Buddha. After paying obeisance to Gautama Buddha, he stayed in the hermitage for one night. That night, when Chakshupal was walking outside his room in the hermitage, he was engrossed in walking meditation. While walking, some ants were crushed under his feet. Since Chakshupal was blind, he could not see those ants walking on the ground. The next morning, when the other disciples of the monastery passed from there and saw the ants dead in the front of Chakshupal's room, they started criticizing Chakshupal for doing bad karma. They went to Buddha to complain about Chakshupal. After listening to the complaint of the disciples, Buddha asked them, "Did you see Chakshupal crushing ants with his own eyes?" All the disciples refused that they had not seen anything with their own eyes, but all the ants were laying dead in front of Chakshupal's room. That's why Chakshupal must have done it. Then Buddha said that as they did not teach Chakshupal crushing ants with their own eyes, similarly, Chakshupal had not seen those ants walking on the ground, because he's blind. That's why Chakshupal is not guilty of this sin. Then Buddha told the disciples that Chakshupal has attained enlightenment. Therefore, Chakshupal cannot do anything with the feeling of violence towards any living being. Then Buddha's disciples asked him that if Chakshupal is enlightened, then because of what sin is he blind? Then Buddha told them the story of a previous birth of Chakshupal. And the story goes like this. In the previous birth of Chakshupal, he was a physician. He used to treat people with herbal medicines. He was a very skilled physician. People used to get cute very quickly after taking his medicines. One day a woman came to him to get his eyes treated. The woman had lost her sight due to some disease in her eyes. She had completely given up hope of recovering her eyes. When she went to Chakshupal, she promised him that if our eyes were completely cute and she was able to see again, then she would become a slave for the rest of her life, along with her children pant to apply in her eyes. Chakshupal agreed and started treating her eyes. And gradually the eyes of that woman started getting cured. She started seeing with her eyes. Then she thought that by applying ointment for few days, her eyes were cured so much then, if she used the medicine for few more days, then her eyes will become perfect, and the disease will not come back again. But she was scared that now, as per her promise, she will have to remain as a slave of Chakshupal for the rest of her life, and out of that fear, she lied to Chakshupal that her eyes were not getting cute, and she needed more medicine to cure her eyes. But Chakshupal was very clever. He knew that his medicine cannot fail to cure the eyes of any person. He understood that the woman does not want to keep on her promise of becoming a slave for lifetime, and that is why she is pretending not to be cured. So out of malice, he gave her such an ointment due to which she became blind for her whole life. Because of this bad karma, Chakshupal had to be blind in this part. After telling the story, Buddha said to his disciples, "My pupils, all the tendencies of a human being are born from the mind. If any person does something with bad intention in his mind, then he will definitely get the result of his bad deed in the form of sorrow. And if he will keep doing such bad karma, then sorrow will never leave him. It will always keep following him, just like in a bullock cart. Will follow the block. And if a person does good deeds with good intention in his mind, then happiness follows him like the bills of a bullock cart. Follow the bullock." After listening to the story, all the disciples came to know about the law of karma, and many of them became enlightened after listening to Buddha's sermon that day. If we see in our lives, then we will find that karma always has its root, whether it is good or bad. This is the law of karma, that what you sow, so shall you reap. If you do good deeds, you will get happiness, and if you will do bad deeds, then you will get sorrow. Our intention behind any karma is very important, because it is our intention that makes any action good or bad. For example, a robber stabs a person with a knife, because his motive is to rob that person. And on the other hand, a doctor operates on a patient with a knife. He also cuts his body with knife, but his intention behind it is to save patient's life. Both of them use knife to cut the body, but their intentions were different due to which one. His deed became bad karma, and others did became good karma. Therefore, the intention behind any karma is very important. We should always act with a good intention in our mind. Also, if your wrong deed is done unknowingly, without any bad intention, then it is not a sin. Like in the story, unknowingly crushed the ants under his foot. That was not a sin because he did not do this with any bad intention. We all have done good and bad deeds in our life. We all have made mistakes too, but what is important is our intention. If your mind is pure, then even a mistake is forgiven. But if your mind is not pure, then you will have to bear the fruit. For doing any karma, there is freedom. But once you have done it, you are bound to reap its root, and then you queue and do anything to change it. That's why you always have to be careful before doing any karma, because good or bad, what you put out comes back to you.